Welcome back to Sunday, May the 5th, 1935, Braves Field in Boston, Massachusetts. A beautiful spring afternoon, day game on the grass. And folks, 31,000 fans came pouring through those turnstiles. Now you have to understand what that number means in 1935. The country is climbing out of the Great Depression. The Boston Braves are a last place ball club heading for one of the worst seasons in the history of the National League. 38 wins and 115 losses they would finish with that year. 31,000 people don't just show up to watch a team like that. So why were they there? Two names, two showmen, two men who on this particular Sunday afternoon were on a collision course with destiny. In one corner, wearing the road grays of the St. Louis Cardinals, number 17, the cocky, brash, lightning-armed pride of the Gas House Gang, the reigning World Series champion, the 30-game winner from the year before, 25 years old, fresh off the Oklahoma cotton fields, and already telling anybody who would listen that he was the greatest pitcher in baseball, Mr. J. Hanna Dizzy Dean. And in the other corner, wearing the unfamiliar uniform of the Boston Braves, batting third, playing left field, the most famous athlete on planet Earth, 40 years old, 21 seasons in the American League now behind him, sold off by the Yankees, promised a manager's job that would never come, playing out the string in a National League city he barely knew. Well, he did play for the Red Sox earlier, so he kind of knew it, but go with the story. The Sultan of SWAT, the Bambino, Mr. George Herman Babe Ruth. This was their first regular season meeting. They'd squared off once before, back in March, down in St. Petersburg, a spring training game where the Babe lifted a long fly ball off Dizzy that had the Florida crowd buzzing. But that one didn't count. This one did. The Babe in the twilight. Dizzy in the dawn. And friends, they knew it. They knew what this moment was. 3 of President Franklin Roosevelt's own sons were in the stands. The Boston papers had been hyping it all week. Dizzy had told reporters, and I'm paraphrasing here, that he had no choice in the matter. He was going to have to strike out Babe Ruth. Before the game, the two of them stood together on the field, posed for photographers, did a promotion with some local kids. They greeted each other warm as old friends because Dizzy was a fan. Dizzy had called the Babe after winning the 34th series and invited him down to the Cardinals clubhouse. 2 showmen, 2 giants, 1 ball field. First inning, Ed Brandt on the hill for Boston, Dizzy Dean on the hill for St. Louis. Top of the first goes quietly, single double play, 3 up, 3 down. Bottom of the first, Billy Urbanski leads off. Dizzy retires him. Buck Jordan up next. Dizzy retires him. And here he comes, friends. Here comes the Babe. And what does Dizzy Dean do? He stops. He turns. He tips his cap to Babe Ruth. Respect, acknowledgement. One legend to another. And then he goes to work. Ball 1, ball 2, ball 3. Ball 4. Babe Ruth draws the walk. Round 1 to the Bambino. Top of the second. Now this is where the ball game breaks open. Joe Medwick flies out. Then Ripper Collins singles. Catcher Spud Davis, Virgil Davis in the books, triples to the gap. Collins scores. 1-0. Terry Moore steps in and launches a 2-run home run deep to left field. 3-0. Leo DeRocha flies out. 2 outs. And up to the plate strolls, well, who else? Dizzy Dean himself, hitting ninth, pitcher spot. The Boston crowd gives him a chorus of cheers and boos all mixed together. And what does Dizzy do? He stops, he turns, and he bows. Bows to the Boston crowd. And then on a slow curveball from Ed Brandt, he lifts a fly ball into the seats in left field. Home run. Dizzy Dean, the pitcher, has just gone deep over Babe Ruth's head and Babe Ruth's outfield. The Cardinals batted around. 6 runs in the inning. By the time the dust settled, it was 6-0 St. Louis, and Ed Brandt was in the showers. Now we get to it, the moment. Bottom of the 4th inning. Babe Ruth's Second at bat, Dizzy has retired Buck Jordan, one out, the Bambino digs in. And here is where Dizzy Dean writes the page. Strike one, ball one. Or maybe it was the other way around, the box score doesn't say, but Dizzy works the count. He gets to ball one, 2 strikes on Babe Ruth. 2 strikes, and what does he do? He steps off the rubber. He looks out to his outfielders, and he waves them back as if to say, boys, just in case the old man gets a hold of one. Now, back behind home plate, Babe Ruth sees this. The crowd sees this. 31,000 people see this. The whole ballpark knows what's coming. Dizzy climbs back onto the rubber, goes into those windup, and he throws the Babe a fastball right down the middle, waist high, dead red. The pitch every hitter dreams about, and Babe Ruth, 40 years old, the greatest hitter who ever lived, takes the biggest swing of his life and misses it clean, strike 3. The Associated Press said that the Babe almost broke his back going after that fastball. And here's the part I love the most, friends. Here's the part that tells you who these two men were. After the strikeout, Babe Ruth looks out at Dizzy Dean, and Dizzy Dean looks back at Babe Ruth, and they laugh. They both laugh. Dizzy said later, Lordy me, it would have gone to New York or Pensacola. I had to laugh at him swinging like that, and he was laughing because he hadn't expected to get a fast one like that right through the heart of the plate. 2 showmen, 1 afternoon. The rest of the afternoon was a gallop. As the Boston papers wrote, Dizzy added a run in the 6th on a Ripper Collins triple. The Cardinals tacked it on 7-0. Babe Ruth came up one more time in the 6th and grounded out shortstop to first. 0 for 2 with a walk and a strikeout. Dizzy went the distance, complete game shutout. 10 Boston hits scattered, none of them off the bat of George Herman Babe Ruth. 2 weeks later, May the 19th, they met again, Sportsman's Park in St. Louis, and Dizzy did it once more. Held the Babe 0 for 4 with another strikeout. Won the ball game 7-3. 2 meetings, Dizzy 2, Babe nothing. 6 days after that second meeting on May the 25th in Pittsburgh, Babe Ruth would summon up one last burst of immortality, 3 home runs against the Pirates, the 714th and final blast of his career, clearing the right field roof at Forbes Field. And then, just like that, he was done, retired by the end of the month. So when you mark your calendar for May the 5th, remember 1935, remember Braves Field, remember 31,000 fans on a Sunday afternoon, remember the tip of the cap, remember the bow of the crowd, remember the wave to the outfielders, and most of all, remember 2 men, one on his way out, one on his way up, meeting for one shining moment at the crossroads of history, laughing together about it. The torch wasn't passed that day, friends. It was thrown right down the middle, waist high, and Dizzy Dean, the kid from Oklahoma, was the one who threw it. I'm Mr. Baseball. This has been Dates with Destiny. See you tomorrow, everybody.